When's this come out? During the run across Texas?
We can batch it out.
Make it whenever.
Yeah, so 3 weeks ago, I'm out running. Actually, let's go a year ago. A year ago, I fractured my left leg in 3 spots. And 3 weeks ago, randomly, as I'm out running, like it was a random Wednesday, and I went out running and everything was good. I woke up on Thursday and I stepped out of bed. I put pressure on the left leg and I was like, something's wrong. I was like, something is very wrong. Completely out of nowhere. And woke up on Friday, took Thursday off, woke up on Friday and went to run my normal 10-mile route, 5 out, 5 back. And I had to cut it and move back to the house. Only ran 5 miles, and it took me like an hour and 10 minutes to go 5 miles. I was like, something is completely wrong with my leg. So that Friday, was it that Friday? You came over, right?
Yep.
Randomly, because Nick was here. We came over and we were talking about it, and it was to the point where we're like, okay, we need to go find out what's going to happen. And so Nick, Amanda, Brett, and myself all literally just sat in my living room and prayed to God that like everything was going to be okay and that the leg was fine and life is good. And no one knows this. And I mean, I know you don't even know it because we've kept this really on the down low. And Saturday went by, I woke up Saturday and like my leg was still messed up. Sunday still messed up. So I'm online and long story short, I find a place in Dallas, $800 for a 90-minute turnaround MRI. So Amanda and I wake up at 5 a.m. We drive to Dallas on Monday morning. We get an MRI and we turn around and come back, and within an hour I get an email. And in both spots, so I had a fracture in the top of the tibia and the bottom of the tibia. In both of those spots, there was not a fracture, which we prayed that there was not a fracture. There was not a fracture, but there was bone edema, which is swelling and bruising of the bone, as well as fluid on my ankle and Achilles tendonitis that they were saying that they were seeing. And I started making phone calls, one after another, to this PT and that PT and this PT that's an ultra runner and this ortho that has done 100 milers. And it was like, you need to take 6 months off. You need to take 6 weeks off. You need to put it in a boot. You need to not run for 3 months. Like it was all of this. And so I sat in that and I'm like, fuck, like what now? And over 2 weeks, it was like, I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to run. And we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed that it was okay. Like just speaking things over myself that like I am healed, and met with the pastor of Red Rocks and sat with him for almost 3 hours and told him my entire story and what was going on. And we prayed with him, and it's been 3 weeks and we're good to go. And I mean, I had my, a lady that does a lot of my body work came over, and she said that she was doing research on it because PEMF can help with bone, which is this pulse electromagnetic therapy. And, even she said to me, she's like, how are you feeling? She's like, when I was doing my research, I read that it takes 5 months to heal. And I'm like, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I was like, I am doing so good. So for me, it's being able to, you guys remember when Conor McGregor broke his ankle and still went out and won the title fight?
Oh yeah.
It's me being able to go and do this and I'm being set up to be able to tell this story of everyone said that it wasn't going to be able to happen, and it's going to happen. Like that is I believe that is a straight setup from God to help spread the word of what He can do. And I didn't want to come out with it. Like I didn't want to just come out and just be like, hey everyone, I'm hurt. Like Brett and I had this conversation so many times about, like the first, like I took 2 weeks off and my Strava said 0, and my first run back, like people were commenting on it like, oh my gosh, like I thought you were hurt, like I thought something was wrong. People have way too much access to you at this point. And so for me, it's like I said like earlier, it was trials and tribulations. and, you know, it was getting through these things and everything that has been happening this entire time. And I talked to Ethan about this, the pastor up at Red Rocks, is I'm like, everything that has been happening, I see God in it, and I'm like, I can't, like, I'm like, make it go away. Like, you know, and that's what he, you know, he was like, this is what happens. He's like, you know, when you are being called to share a message, he's like, it will almost just eat you alive if you know. So then, like, that caused me to change my prayers from what I want to what do you want? What do you want me to do? And what do you want me to say? What do you want me to show people? What are your plans for me? And, you know, and that has really, like, there was a 3-week period there where I lost all my confidence. Like, where I was like, oh no, like, I'm doing math on, like, okay, if I run this many miles, that's going to be 35 days, you know, trying to figure out, like, you know, we were talking about pushing it back. Like, do we push it back? And, you know, all of this. And then, yeah, here we are. That was a long story short.
It's a great story.
Were there any prayers that you heard or any words that you heard during that 3-week period of just that uncertainty that stand out to you?
Yeah. So, and I can't even tell you the Bible verse, and I don't even know where I got it. I think I told you about this, and it was, "For I know the plans I have for you." And that was what, like, that kept coming to me over and over and over again. And even to where, like, I went to Ethan at Red Rocks, and I'm like, I think God's, like, giving me a vision. And I'm like, and I'm not one that's like, I ain't no prophet. I'm not, like, I'm trying to talk this down, right? Like, I'm like, tell me it's not true. Like, it's not me, right? I'm like, me? You know, why me? And, like, I'm trying, like, to tell this pastor to tell me that I am wrong. And he wouldn't do anything but say, you might be right. And, you know, so that's been, you know, it's been a huge thing where, like, even I told Brett, like, you know, we're going to raise all this money for Valor Fit, but maybe it's not really about Valor Fit. Maybe it's just really spreading the word of God to everyone that joins along the way.
That MRI story is really important too, because you had first fractured your leg a year ago. So you know,
1 year ago.
1 year ago. You know exactly how it feels for your leg to be fractured. And when I was with you that weekend, you were like, I'm 100% sure it's back.
Yeah.
So then you get the MRI, the fracture's not there. There's some swelling, way better outlook than what you'd hope for. After we had prayed over it, you had prayed over it. I feel like that's God saying, give me everything and I will take care of you for this race. Like, watch what I can do.
I think I said to Amanda and Ethan as well, is I was like, I am 100, like, I know God does not hurt people, but I feel like Jesus might kick you in the shin. And then, like, that is, you know, that's kind of where it was, because I was going down this path of, like, I remember a year ago where I was, you know, I promised myself when this happened, because I was overdoing it. I was doing too much, but I didn't do anything wrong during this training. Let me say that. Like I followed the plan to a T. And I didn't overdo anything. I didn't do anything wrong. It just happened. And, you know, but at the same time, I had a whole bunch of friends that were like, dude, like, you look like shit. You know, I mean, because, I mean, yeah, I probably do look like shit. I'm running 150 miles a week. Like, it hurts, you know? But, like, at the same time, like, I remember, you know, as soon as I stopped running for about 4 days, I host a men's call on Monday nights where we just chat. And we got off the call, and one of my buddies, Jimmy Wise, he texted me, and he has no idea what's going on. And he texted me, and he's like, you finally look like you again. And that was almost like, to me, like, that was almost God speaking through him to me, saying, like, you're finally you again. Now that you've slowed down, you're finally you again. Because this running was putting so much, like, I was barely, like, you and I talk every day. I was barely even talking to you. I wasn't, like, I went 2 days without talking to Amanda, my girlfriend, who she was out in Avalon. Like, I wasn't talking to her. Like, you know, just shit was going wrong.
Shutting down.
And yeah, like I was just, you know, there was too much going on. And yeah, it was just kind of like a, hey, hold up. Like, you know, like, there was a Bible verse that, and I can't even tell you where it was, and I'm probably not going to quote it right, but I opened the Bible. I think I might have sent it to you, but I asked Ethan, because I'm like, once again, I was trying to, like, you know, disprove everything that's going on. And I'm like, hey, like, if I read this, like I know I'm reading it out of context, out of the Bible, but I feel like it's literally directly speaking to me. Like I randomly opened the Bible and I saw it, and I don't want to say it was God, but is it God? Because I don't want to say it is, because then I'm gonna feel bad because I'm saying that it's God and it's not. And he's like, you know, hold up. And it was a verse, and it was somebody writing a letter to the church, and I don't remember the exact verse, but it was something along the lines of like, I'm sorry that I hurt you, but it was in the plan to bring you closer to me. And I read that on like day 4 of this, and I was like, whoa, you know, like, and there's so much, there's so much more behind this. And that's why, like, I can't, you know, we're going to run 850 miles across Texas. We're going to raise thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a veterans charity. We're going to change so many people's lives in that process. But at the same time, you know, to me, in the furthering the kingdom and, you know, doing the, like, showing people that, like, you don't need to be this picture perfect Christian. You don't need to be this picture perfect Christian to spread the word of God or to tell people about God. Like, you don't, you know, that I feel like so many people are pushed away from Christianity because of like the way that people act towards them. And you know, you need to live like this, and you need to do this, and this. Like, yeah, okay, I get it to an extent, but you know, for me, it's people putting their eyes on me and seeing this and being like, oh, like, you know, he's like that, but he's a Christian as well. You know, and that was something that I had a conversation with Ethan about too. Like, I'm like, dog, I'm like, if you go and you look at my Instagram as a pastor, I'm like, I probably wouldn't sit here and just show it to you.
Yeah.
You know, like I told him that straight on.
You're smoking
like,
a cig.
Like, yeah, like I was like, honestly, I'd probably be a little ashamed of like things that I'm, you know, showing you on my Instagram. And, you know, and he can't, you know, I was trying to get this man to tell me that, like, yeah, you're right, you are messed up, you know, like, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, Jesus sat with sinners. Jesus ate with tax collectors. You know, like maybe, you know, maybe this is just him using you to bring more people that wouldn't do it on their own.
Yes.
Or are scared to do it. To show that, like, you don't need to be the picture perfect person. And so I'm like, okay, so you're telling me I can still rip ciggies and bring people to God. I got it.
Good.
I got it.
Zins
and he's like, nah, what I'm saying, but you know.
Yeah.